I'm going to be assigning an IXL testing your proficiency with slope-intercept form and point-slope form. Let's take a look at a couple of example problems to get a feel for how to solve these problems. So, question here says a line passes through the points -1, -6, and 7, 10. What is its equation in point-slope form? All right, so point-slope form. It's nice because we don't have to do quite so much work, but we have to remember what point slope form is. So point slope form the equation is y minus y1 is equal to m times x minus x1. If you have trouble remembering this equation, the way I like to remember it is to think of the slope formula. M is equal to y1 minus y2 over y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. And then if you just multiply both sides of this by x2 minus x1, you get essentially the point slope form, just with different named variables. Okay, so all we need to know is a point and the slope in order to express the equation of a line in this form. Well, we've got 2 points, but we don't have the slope. So it's nice that we've got the slope formula over here because we're going to need to use it to calculate the slope of the line that connects these 2 points. So we're looking at the difference between our y values divided by the difference between the x values. So this is 10 minus -6 over 7 minus -1. So negatives cancel each other out in both the numerator and denominator. 10 minus -6 is 10 plus 6, which is 16. 7 minus -1 is 7 plus 1, which is equal to 8. And we can simplify that to just be 2. So now that we know the slope, we can substitute it into point slope form, and we can substitute either one of these points in. But there's one thing you've got to be really careful of when you use point slope form, and that's these negative signs here. So how does that affect when we use point slope form with a point like this? Well, once again, just like we saw down here, the 2 negatives should cancel each other out. So if we were going to write this kind of one step at a time, we could say y minus -6 is equal to m, which is 2, times x minus x1, which is -1. All right, so this would be our x1 and this is our y1. And then just to turn this into 2 times x minus -1 is x plus 1. All right, so this is one equation of the line. We could also have substituted the other point in. And if we had done that, we would have gotten y minus 10 is equal to 2 times x minus 7. Either one of these are acceptable point slope forms of the line passing through both of these points, just using either one. And the reason that we could use either of these equations is that these are both the same equation, just with different names. We could see that by multiplying this out. If they happen to ask us for this in slope-intercept form instead, we could take y plus 6 is equal to 2 times x plus 1. And then to get this into slope-intercept form, first thing we do is we distribute. So that becomes y plus 6 is equal to 2x plus 2. And then we have to subtract 6 from both sides because in slope-intercept form, the y is alone on the left-hand side of the equation. So that becomes 2x minus 4. If we had done this with the equation over here, y minus 10 is equal to 2 times x minus 7. Again, we distribute. Y minus 10 is equal to 2x. 2 times -7 is -14. And now we add 10 to both sides. Y is equal to 2x. -14 plus 10 is -4. So you see, we get the same slope-intercept form from either side of the point-slope form. Okay, so be careful when you read the question to make sure you're putting the equation into the form that they like. When you're using point-slope form, make sure you're being careful with the negative signs and making sure you have the correct signs on your values, and use the slope formula in order to find the slope of the line that connects 2 points if you're given 2 points.